Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and this is how Dendi and Universe fight with Sand King. So before I start this video, I want to tell you guys something that probably a lot of you are not doing. Sand King is one of those heroes that are very strong this patch, but not if you play him like he was played 5 patches ago. The real strengths of Sand King are his power in the lane, given mainly by Caustic Finale against melee heroes, and his instant initiation with Burrow Strike. In these 4 replays, with no exception, Sandstorm was skilled at level 10. Seriously guys, if you're playing this hero like a core, don't go jungle and learn Caustic Finale, it's just ridiculously strong. This is a neat clip. Dendi had a clarity going on, and Earth Spirit was just waiting Dendi to have mana to follow up. In the end, since Sniper wanted to cancel the clarity, he actually sets himself up for the role, and then Dendi gets the mana just in time to get the kill. Some people like to get level 2 of Caustic Finale at level 3, but I feel like against ranged heroes, especially against Sniper in 1 vs 1 lanes, you're better off with level 2 Burrow Strike. I really feel like the summary of this video is just fight with Sand King. Find someone in your team and get as much pickoffs as possible. This hero is ridiculously good in all stages of the game, and he is way more than a blink epicenter like most people believe. There's really no secret. You land Burrow Strike, make sure to apply the Caustic Finale buff after you hit, and usually if you have follow up, you will get the kill. This clip shows some nuance, and that's the case when you initiate in the lane. Check how confident he is that he can get that kill. A key aspect of this kill being so fast and clean is how he initiates and at the same time he deals damage to the ranged creep near Sniper with the Burrow Strike. Then he just applies the debuff on Sniper and goes back to the ranged creep instead of attacking him. That explosion deals 130 damage, so that's definitely more than worth it if he would just right click Sniper again. And at the same time, imagine if Earth Spirit wasn't there. He also slows Sniper with the explosion from the ranged creep, so if he was going for a solo kill, the right move would still be killing the ranged creep first and then going back to Sniper. Another rune engagement against Disruptor, and we see the same pattern. Stun, right click to apply the debuff, and then they are Gucci. There is really not much Disruptor can do, especially before level 6. Also check how Sand King abuses the fact that Disruptor died there twice. There's definitely not an observer ward there, so he pops the invis and he tries to go against Anti-Mage. And even though he is somewhat in a good position, he ends up dying. Had Sand King gotten less levels of Burrow Strike and actually got Sandstorm or Caustic Finale, I don't know, that kill wouldn't be possible. Of course, against melee heroes sometimes it can be a good idea to get more points in Caustic Finale before maxing Burrow Strike, but in this game I really think this was the right move. In this clip, check how he Burrow Strikes right behind Sniper, instead of going through him. It doesn't make a difference here, but against most heroes with disables, doing that and actually staying behind the hero gives you time to cast Epicenter, because they will have to turn to use the spell on you, and that's usually enough time for the cast time of Epicenter. In the next replay, you will see me talking a lot about avoiding to use solo epicenters on enemies, and in this game he already did it twice, and I feel like I need to explain myself better. First, on the next game, the first epicenter happens at 30 minutes into the game, which means by that time enemies will definitely have more HP, and the magic damage from most heroes doesn't scale as much as HP scales in heroes overall. So since Dendi is playing mid here, so he has more experience than Universe in the other game, he can make these solo epicenters work in the beginning. Also note that he always did it against important cores, in this game Sniper and Anti-Mage. If Anti-Mage was super stacked and strong and he knew that no one could actually cancel his epicenter, the right play would be walk towards AM, apply the Caustic Finale, and then stun him right after Fiend's Grip ends to then cast Epicenter, maximizing his damage. But there's always the risk of you getting interrupted, and well, you can see that Lion and Nyx were around, so I really like how he played it. He channeled Epicenter very far away from Anti-Mage. Check how the instant aspect of Sand King's stun is really good. Usually there's a decent chance Nyx would use Spiked Carapace if he felt Sand King was going after him, and depending on the level, there's a chance Nyx can run away. But when Dendi initiates from the fog instantly, there's no counterplay, and that's what you want to strive when you're playing Sand King. And we can see him doing it again here, but with a twist. He TPs in to help Frog's cancer survivor patient, and by seeing his clicking patterns, it's clear that he wanted to be in the fog to cast Epicenter and land a beautiful ult. But it's 20 minutes into the game already, and we can see that even the anti-mage that didn't had a good game, got a 19-minute Battle Fury, can withstand the level 2 Epicenter and Burrow Strike combo. He probably felt he could get 2 heroes with that ult, but even then, the main point of this clip is to show that Epicenter's damage doesn't scale very well, especially after removing the extra damage from the Scepter. You usually want to cast the ult on single targets very early on, if they are core heroes, and in the mid to late game there is really no point in using it on single cores unless they don't have escape mechanism, because as we can see, Sand King is more of a ganking hero that with the help of his team can make pickoffs happen all the time. They do get a kill on Sniper later on, thanks to Darkseeing being there, so you can see the teamfight aspect, and Iron Shell really helps them get in Sniper, and he chases him down. When Bane also joins the fight, they get 2 extra kills, so that's just to show how much of a teamfight hero he is, and not like a one-trick pony with Epicenter. This clip is visually beautiful. Radiance focused on killing Morphling, and in the beginning you can see Dendi very hidden, not showing up at all. When he decides to go in, check how he sees a way to stun 3 people instead of 2. Most people will try to stun Lion and Nyx directly. Instead, he uses his Blink Dagger to position himself beautifully. Even though he doesn't stun Lion, Frog is probably crying tears of joy anyways, since Darkseer lands a great Vac Wall and they kill Sniper. I'm not advocating for going Scepter first on Sand King every game, but you can't deny how strong the item is. Check this clip. Lion feels very well positioned and sufficiently far back, but Dendi gets him just on the edge of the stun range and his team can follow up and explode him in a matter of seconds. Now, check his decision making. He could choose to go on either Nyx or Disruptor, and with the instant stun, it's always better to go on Nyx. He will rarely be fast enough to predict your movements, especially if you're not chasing him for a long time. And that's the beauty of Sand King. As long as you're getting these 2 or 3 heroes engagements against the enemy team while you have all of your allies, you don't really need to have Epicenter ready. You basically choose the target to stun and your team will follow up. Another great example. Bane sleeps Disruptor and Sniper can have as much range as he wants, there's no running away from Dawn though. Easy game. The first Epicenter universe casted this game was after 30 minutes of play, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, I'm just saying instant initiation from Burrow Strike more often than not is enough to get kills and people just don't understand it. In this clip he doesn't need dagger, he doesn't need anything, he walks towards Legion, stuns, right clicks with Caustic Finale and bam. Sand King's strength on the lane is especially notable when you're playing against melee heroes or ranged heroes with short attack range. Morphling is a good example of the second one, so check this clip. Instead of trying to Epicenter, which would be really dumb, he just right clicks the creeps. Every damage instance is pretty huge even at level 2, and since Morph thought he could man-fight Universe, I really don't know why, he ends up dead. Another clip where Burrow Strike proves to be more than enough to get kills. Using Epicenter here, even if Skyref was not around, is definitely not worth it. Storm can just zip away since Epicenter channel time is 2 seconds, the same duration of his stun, and as we saw here, there was enough time for Legion to ult since he didn't Burrow Strike her as well. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I really feel like this is one of the biggest mistakes of 4K Sand King players. They feel like Epicenter is some kind of godly skill like Black Hole, and they only fight when it's ready, so they just go farm the jungle or the lane. And since the enemy has vision of them, it's very easy to find around the Sand King. But seriously, check how many kills are possible. Heroes that are really slippery like Morphling and Storm can get killed time and time again since they play more aggressively thanks to their mobility spells, and that's probably why he never bothered to use Epicenter. If they had vision around thanks to a ward or bounty hunter, there would be more than enough time for them to leave. If they didn't leave because they thought they could handle the initial burst, they were wrong. In this clip I can feel a lot of people trying to use Epicenter, and that's definitely not the right idea. Not only this is an ogre, but most of the time you're better off using Epicenter when the enemy team clumps up. Especially because they have a Legion on their team, so they will clump up when Duo is used. The style of play here is similar to a Slardar. You blink in, you stun, and you disengage. You help your friends and you go back again when the cooldown is ready. It's actually pretty similar to an offlane Slardar, which is a little bit different from Dendi's style of play in the first game. But anyway, let's keep going. This clip is awesome. I really admire how he doesn't go for Burrow Strike right away. I'm not sure if they were using audio and predicted Dire's movements, but with the setup from Naga Siren, he can burst them easily. So what are the benefits of using Epicenter now? Well, the biggest one is that there is no counterplay, especially because Legion can't use press the attack to remove Burrow Strike. But there's also the added benefit of having more enemies together. A cool detail to note here is how Naga doesn't care to lose a few Epicenter pulses, as well as Universe doesn't care. The important part is actually landing the Burrow Strike, and he only uses Burrow Strike after he sees the HP bar going down. There is no need to panic. Storm's cast animation is not great, and as long as you're calm, you can land this. Sand King is not a hero you want to get solo kills. I'm not saying it's not possible, but why would you waste a teamfight ultimate when you can spend 140 mana to get that same kill with one ally on a very low cooldown? Juggernaut has Blink here, but if he didn't, Universe could have waited a bit before Burrow Striking or even use Force Staff on him before blinking. Burrow Strike is probably one of the most underrated skills from the hero. Not only has a huge range even without Aegis, it is also instant, low cooldown and arguably low mana considering the items you go on Sand King anyway. It also has a pretty decent duration, 2.2 seconds. In this footage, Storm tries to solo kill Skywrath, but he gets silenced, and check how Universe clicks on Storm to see if the silence debuff is ending. Since there's enough time, he walks towards Storm instead of wasting his mobility or disables. I feel like the Naga song here actually works against them since it gets harder to hit Burrow Strike. Anyways, a tip to try to land skill shots when you have a Naga is paying attention to the waves around Naga. When they disappear completely, the enemy hero will stop being invulnerable. Another example where I see Sand King players trying to get a solo kill with Epicenter, and you might be thinking, oh, this is obviously not worth it, it's just a solo support hero. But this is just to reiterate a different mentality on you. Even against solo core heroes, he avoided using Epicenter. Another perfect example of a great time to use Epicenter. They are smoked trying to find a target when Dire surprises them. His reactions are instant. Partly because he is really well positioned, it's nighttime, so everyone had their attention on the dual target, and that works wonders for Sand King. He gets a beautiful Epicenter, and check how he plays afterwards. He really doesn't contribute that much, especially when they don't have the numbers advantage, so the best play here is waiting for another Burrow Strike cooldown. Unfortunately though, he gets greedy in hopes he can save the jam, but that ends up killing him. Something else I didn't highlight it until now is his creep score. 164 CS for a 40-minute game is not a lot, but to play Sand King as a counter initiator and ganker, you can't be farming lanes all the time, and it's really tempting because unlike heroes like Slardar, that I compared the style of play you should have with Sand King farms very fast if he wants. But if you keep revealing your position farming lane creeps, your enemies can play around you. And check his position here. Like almost every mid-game clip we saw until now, he's hidden and very well positioned. Not only because he wants to counter-initiate, but also because he needs to take extra care against track. This clip though is not a good example of a perfect Epicenter, mainly because it was set up with a song against heroes with BKB, so it's wishful thinking at best. He even tries to go against the heroes who doesn't have BKB, Ogre and Legion, but as you can see, magic damage doesn't scale that much in the late game, especially when you're against 2 strength heroes and Morphling. In this clip they smoke while having an idea of where Storm was. As they position themselves to go on him, check how he doesn't use Epicenter. And not only that, check how Egg Scepter and Smoke synergize so well. By initiating like he did, he doesn't need to use Blink Dagger because the range on Burrow Strike is bigger than Smoke's termination range. 2.2 instant stun is very strong, guys, I'm telling you. During teamfights, and considering both your disables are equally instant and work similarly, it's always a good idea to use your low cooldown disable first, and then the bigger ones, since you will have another disable ready faster. And that's exactly his decision making here. Even though he gets Lotus Orbed, he has time to cast Sight of Eyes on Legion because he tried to save Bounty Hunter, and as they chase, he knows Legion will be able to blink before the Caustic Finale proc, and instead of trying to guess which tree he is, he doesn't even bother. It's actually easier for him to spot and reach Legion outside of that cliff. Unfortunately, his team can't keep up with his chasing and they disengage. Well, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video or if you learned something new, please guys, give it a thumbs up, it helps a lot, you have no idea. Also, if you want to see more replay breakdowns from Universe and Dendi playing Sand King, please check my affiliate link in the description. I can't understate how this video would never be possible without the huge help from the Pugna guys, so please show them some love if you can. And well, if you're new to my channel, subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this almost every day, and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. So if you can actually be in range to cast it, you definitely get more certainty to get your kill. Also, Arc Warden is ridiculously good in 1 vs 1s. Witch Doctor bets on Maledict being enough to kill him, but level 1 Maledict is very weak. Check how much damage Arc Warden can do. When Witch Doctor gives up on killing him, he zones Witch Doctor with the first Spark Wraith, and there's no way he can juke an Arc Warden because of how